fun. They were crossroads where empires met, where alliances formed, and where the seeds of both collaboration and controversy were planted.
It appeared like she just didn't want to be there. You could tell that she was very uncomfortable, especially talking about her recollection of her time that she had worked with Diddy.
The headlines were already ablaze when Amber Heard walked into the exclusive televised interview. No one quite knew what to expect. She had remained silent for months after the legal storm surrounding her, and Johnny Depp finally died down. But this time, she wasn't here to talk about pirates, courtrooms, or ex-husbands. She was here to talk about something darker, more buried, and far more dangerous. Her voice trembled slightly as she leaned forward and uttered the name that sent shockwaves across the world: Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. Like and subscribe if you want more uncensored truth, celebrity exposés, and behind-the-scenes confessions that shake the world. The room froze. Even the host, who had spent decades interviewing global icons, looked caught off guard. Amber steadied herself.
How could it? It's surreal and difficult.
There are stories people haven't heard, she said. There are names that people didn't want to say. I was scared too, but I can't stay silent anymore. And just like that, what started as a vague teaser turned into a live televised reckoning that millions weren't ready for. She began carefully. A charity event in 2016, a penthouse after-party in Los Angeles, music stars, influencers, powerful businessmen, and Diddy.
Fun. They were crossroads where empires met, where alliances formed, and where the seeds of both collaboration and controversy were planted.
Amber recalled the moment she met him. Charismatic, intense, magnetic. But the night quickly shifted. He wasn't what he appeared to be on the outside, she said. There were things said, things done, and people in that room who were terrified of speaking up. Amber didn't claim to be a victim of physical violence, but what she described was just as insidious: emotional manipulation, coercive control, and an environment where people were silenced with money and fear. He would say things like, "Nothing leaves this room," she said, "and if someone crossed that line, you'd never see them in the industry again." She described young women being invited under the guise of opportunity, only to find themselves in situations they couldn't escape from, both physically and professionally. The host tried to steer the conversation delicately, but Amber was on a mission. "I watched one girl cry in the bathroom while his bodyguard stood outside the door like a prison guard," she revealed. "I was told not to talk about it, that it was just how things work. But that's not how things should work. That's abuse of power." The internet went into meltdown. Within minutes, clips from the interview spread like wildfire. Reddit threads lit up. TikTok sleuths dug into past photos, trying to piece together the night Amber described. Soon, a pattern started emerging. Photos of Diddy and Amber at a 2016 event, background sightings of the same suite, the same circle of guests. The timeline matched, and the public started asking real questions. Diddy's team responded within hours, calling her story fiction, fabricated, and motivated by attention-seeking. But the statement only fueled the fire, because for the first time, someone outside the music industry, someone who had nothing to gain and everything to lose, was saying what so many insiders had whispered for years.
Or anything like that. So as far as him being inside that courtroom, it was still the same old Diddy that we've seen, kind of in the same old outfit that we've seen him in as well.
That Diddy's world wasn't just glamour, bottles, and beats. It was control, silence, and secrets. Amber didn't stop there. She spoke about the fear that gripped people in his orbit. How once someone tried to break free, their career dried up. How assistants were replaced like pawns if they asked too many questions. She described one woman, unnamed, who confided in her about a settlement and a signed NDA after a disturbing encounter with Diddy in Miami. "She told me, 'He owns everything. You don't fight someone like that. You disappear,'" Amber recalled. The host's eyes widened. The audience was visibly stunned. This wasn't a tabloid rumor. This was a woman who had lived through global scrutiny, now willingly putting herself back in the fire to speak against one of the most powerful men in entertainment. Amber Heard, once the center of ridicule and court memes, had turned into an unlikely whistleblower, and the internet was listening. Former associates of Diddy began breaking their silence. One former stylist wrote anonymously in a blog post, "Amber just said what we've all been afraid to say." A DJ who toured with him in 2014 tweeted, "I saw things. I was too scared to talk."
It appeared like she just didn't want to be there. You could tell that she was very uncomfortable, especially talking about her recollection of her time that she had worked with Diddy.
Respect to Amber. Even a former label executive hinted at upcoming revelations, saying, "This is just the start. She opened the door. Others will walk through it." Behind the scenes, things spiraled. A documentary crew that had been working on a celebratory biopic of Diddy's career announced a temporary pause in production. A luxury brand quietly removed him from a campaign. One artist scheduled to release a feature with him wiped the track from the album without explanation. Diddy was no longer the image of cool, he was radioactive. Amber, meanwhile, remained calm but firm in a follow-up video posted to her own page. "I know people will try to discredit me. They always do. But I'm telling the truth, and if my voice helps someone else come forward, then it's worth it."
Examination part, I thought that maybe she would get a little emotional because she just appeared maybe a little nervous, maybe a little intimidated, not necessarily sure, but
She didn't ask for pity. She didn't try to cancel him. She simply told her truth and invited others to do the same. Legal experts began speculating. Could her testimony trigger a new civil suit? Would prosecutors take interest? The fact that she wasn't accusing Diddy of a crime directly, but describing a pattern of manipulation, made things murky legally, but explosive culturally, especially because her story added to a growing pile of concern around the mogul. First, the financial questions. Then, the NDA rumors. Then, Trump's live TV confrontation. And now this. Diddy's silence grew louder. He canceled a scheduled appearance at a high-profile awards show, citing personal matters. His Instagram comments were flooded with questions and accusations. Even longtime allies began pulling back. For a man whose brand had always been rooted in confidence, swagger, and control, his sudden vanishing act spoke volumes.
actually more so, how would the cross-examination and how would Diddy's defense attorneys kind of be able to pull apart essentially her credibility?
Amber Heard, for her part, seemed unfazed. She'd already faced worse. Public humiliation, lawsuits, internet mobs. But this time, she was the one with the upper hand, not in a court of law, but in the court of public opinion. She ended her interview with a haunting message. "You don't have to believe me, but you should start paying attention to the patterns. The truth always finds its way out, even if it takes years."